The message of this silence about the gods is clear. War is a man-made problem. Gods neither cause it nor solve it. Nor does Thucydides pay any attention to the particular notion that human troubles, natural or man-made, are punished by the gods. Were he here today, he might devote one of his rare but trenchant opinions to Jerry Falwell's explanation of the AIDS pandemic, or Pat Robertson's take on the devastation in Haiti. Nor does Thucydides show any interest in the other side of that coin, that if you prosper in peace, you must be one of God's chosen. Occasionally, Thucydides notes the fact that Spartans or Athenians prayed and sacrificed before going into battle. But he himself is utterly non-committal about divine support or intervention. If we could erase all the wars in which one or both sides claimed God is on our side, Thucydides' military predictions about military history would then be vastly undermined. A Thucydides of our time might see an emblem of this folly in the etymology of the word strafe. You know this word, to target with machine gun fire from a low-flying aircraft. Since the word comes from a popular salutation among the Germans during the First World War. Gott strafe England. God punish England. The vacuum of leadership left by Pericles' death was filled by a very model of demagogy, Cleon, the son of Cleinidas, who Thucydides says was remarkable among the Athenians for the violence of his character, and at this time he exercised by far the greatest influence over the people. The comedies of Aristophanes boisterously confirm this reputation. Cleon quickly brought aggressive imperialism in the fourth year of the war back to Athens, as he secured a decree of the Athenian assembly to execute all adult males of the rebellious city of Mytilene and enslave the rest of the population. The following day, however, the assembly had second thoughts about its severity and held a debate for reconsideration. Thucydides presents the speeches of Cleon to proceed with a mass execution, and of an otherwise unknown Diodotus in favor of clemency. Speeches that not only pertain to the specific case, but also exemplify the timeless debate on capital punishment. And again, the historian's theory of the interaction of human behavior and circumstances. The nub of Cleon's speech is, of course, deterrence. If you spare any of the Mytileneans, it will encourage other cities in the empire to revolt. Diodotus' speech not only responds that the severity will drive other rebels to desperation because they will have nothing to gain by surrender. In the Thucydidean theory, they will devolve to the level of their circumstances. But his speech also makes the surprisingly modern suggestion that a radical solution to problems of human behavior, and specifically crime, lies in social and economic improvement. Thucydides quotes the speech. Cities and individuals alike, all are by nature, Thucydides again, disposed to do wrong, and there is no law that will prevent it, as is shown by the fact that men have tried every kind of punishment, constantly adding to the list in the attempts to find greater security from criminals. Either, therefore, we must discover some fear more potent than the fear of death, or we must admit that here certainly we have not got an adequate deterrent. So long as poverty forces men to be bold, so long as the insolence and pride of wealth nourish their ambitions, and in the other accidents of life they are continually dominated by some incurable master passion or other, so long will their impulses continue to drive them into danger. The Athenian assembly in this case surprises us by heeding Diodotus, and many Mytileneans were saved from violent death and slavery. Still, Cleon's sway in Athens brought nearly 7 years of political and military deterioration. In the 6th year of the war, refusing to repatriate nearly 300 Spartan prisoners in exchange for peace, Cleon got the Athenian people to abandon Pericles' policy of not confronting the Spartan heavy infantry, the hoplites. Thucydides editorializes on his motive. Cleon thought that in a time of peace and quiet, people would be more likely to notice his evil doings and less likely to believe his slander of others. Athens soon paid dearly for this change of strategy. First, in the 8th year of the war, at the Battle of Delium in Boeotia, where, judging from Thucydides' account and extant casualty inscriptions, losses on the Athenian side were over 14%, the highest that we know of by any force of Greek hoplites. Then, 2 years later, at the Battle of Amphipolis, north of the Aegean Sea, Athenian losses were again heavy, but fortunately among them was Cleon himself, a victim of the superior generalship of Brasidas the Spartan and his own tactical incompetence and cowardice. With Cleon out of the way, circumstances improved with the ascendancy at Athens of another of Thucydides' chief characters, Nicias, the son of Niceratus. Nicias was wise enough to accede to the Spartan overtures, and after 10 years of war, engineered the peace that is justly named for him, but became unjustly unworthy of him. Sparta's allies were angry that the peace treaty left the Athenian Empire intact, and there were infractions, intrigues, unfulfilled promises, and broken oaths on both sides. As Thucydides testifies, it would certainly be an error of judgment to consider the interval of the treaty as anything except a period of war. So the war seemed predestined to resume in full force, and after 5 years of sporadic peace, this probability was made inevitable, thanks in great part to the connivance of a young arriviste on the political scene at Athens, the rich, smart, handsome, and recklessly ambitious Alcibiades, the son of Clinias. As another demagogue who saw peace with Sparta as an impediment to his ambitions, Alcibiades renewed hostilities by persuading the Athenian people to back an ineffective alliance with Spartans' traditional enemies in the Peloponnese, particularly Argos. Alongside the flamboyance of Alcibiades, the thoughtfulness of Nicias lost influence with the Athenian people. In the 17th year of the war, Alcibiades, taking advantage of a plea from Athens' allies in Sicily, sponsored a decree to send a large expedition of warships and hoplites to impose Athenian imperialism on that island, including the powerful Corinthian colony of Syracuse. Thucydides tells how Alcibiades' ill nature motivated him to lead the Athenian people astray. He says, stronger motives still, that is then his opposition to Nicias, were his desire to hold the command and his hopes that it would be through him that Sicily and even Carthage would be conquered. Successes would at the same time bring him personally both wealth and honor, for he was very much in the public eye, and in his enthusiasm for horse breeding and other extravagances went beyond what his fortune could supply. This, in fact, later on had much to do with the downfall of the city of Athens.